You got two guys in their prime. Uh, Both have a lot of wins. One's only got one loss. Naturally talented guys that are built for this sport. There's no question that both of them were designated to be boxers. And so they went on with their careers, and you know, I think up to this point they kind of match each other, but they're in different weight divisions. So one fighter has to drop down in weight, which is reasonable considering what's in front of him. This fight's not getting talked about. It's not getting promoted the right way. This fight is almost as if it's not happening, but it's happening. So let me remind you that Andre Ward is facing Chad Dawson on September the 8th in Oakland. I expect this to be a very, very exciting fight, but it's possible too. It could be a snoozer. It's possible, but I'm expecting an exciting fight. These are two very good fighters, solid. Here's my prediction. For the people that are, a little bit disappointed about this fight, maybe because thinking it's bigger guy picking on smaller guy. Well, Chad Dawson hasn't fought at super middleweight, I think, in 6 years, 6 or 7 years, something like that. So he's cutting down in weight. I don't think that's going to be an easy task for him, but I think he can make it. It's not going to be an extreme task, but it's not going to be an easy task. So he has to cut back in weight. And considering the guy he's facing is a very, very skilled fighter, one of the top pound for pounds, probably in everybody's top 5, majority of people's top 5, considering the level of competition he's facing, I would say this fight's pretty even. I mean, he's cutting back weight, but he's fighting an extremely talented fighter. Andre Ward is fighting a taller fighter, but he's got to cut back the weight. How do I think this fight will play out? It's it's one of them fights I'm just interested in seeing. I don't know for sure, but here's what I can suspect and gather from the facts that I already know ahead of time. The more powerful fighter in this fight is Chad Dawson. He's the guy that, if anything, has the power to get a TKO. I don't think there will be a knockout in this fight, but I'm just saying I think Dawson has the power to get a TKO. Andre Ward, not so much. He can hit, but he's more of a guy of accumulation that can wear you down. And even with that, usually his opponents can survive, especially his latest opponents. He's not really stopping anybody. He doesn't have that type of power against top-level opposition, but he definitely can wear you down. He definitely can frustrate you. He can make it a tough, grueling fight. He does have some dirty tactics in his game. Andre Ward has shown me he can adapt to everything so far. I'm not sold out that this guy can't be beat. He's like Mayweather. I should pick him every single time. But in this fight, I do feel he's the fighter that has more. He's bringing more to the table than Chad Dawson. He can adapt to anything. He can fight. He's a natural lefty that can fight out of either stance, orthodox or southpaw. And the thing that's unique about that is this dude is balanced. Whether he's in either stance, he can fight he's very good in either stance, He's well coordinated from either stance. That's something you don't see a lot. Usually when a fighter even can switch stance, he'll switch back real quick, or one stance is better than the other. Just from what I've seen so far, this guy is equally balanced in either stance. He's coordinated. So, that's like a gift right there, man. Andre Ward is a very guy that can be very technical. From the outside, he can be defensive. He can grind you in from the inside. I think this fight, he'll make it from the inside. Chad Dawson's obviously the taller fighter, has if I'm not mistaken, the longer reach. He's going to go to the inside of Dawson and try to wear him down. He's going to attack that body all day. He's going to attack that body all day. Dawson's going to be looking to counter, because Dawson likes to fight off the back foot. Dawson's a good boxer, has a good jab. He's got the reach in this fight, the height in this fight, but he's got to land that jab on Ward, because Ward's a very difficult guy to land the jab on. Very few opponents land a clean jab on Andre Ward. Very few opponents land a clean jab on Andre Ward. Andre Ward takes away everybody's jab. He neutralizes it. I'm very interested to see the first couple of rounds, especially, and see if Dawson can establish that jab on Ward. It ain't going to be easy, man. Ward has a lot of movement, man, and he's very good defensively. He's a weird, and when he gets to the inside, he will grind on you. He'll use his head. Dawson should be prepared for these tactics because it's like he kind of faced the old version of Ward. Bernard Hopkins is not exactly like Andre Ward, but on the inside, there's a lot of similarities that they have in their game, and being that Hopkins knows all the tricks of the trade, to the inside. Andre Ward can fight very similar to Hopkins on the inside, knows dirty tactics and stuff like that, and how to maneuver very quick without getting caught by the referee, doing it at certain angles. Dawson should be ready for that. It's kind of like he faced the old Ward last fight, and now he's facing a fresh Ward. How do I put it? It's kind of like he faced Dawson and Ward and Hopkins are two different fighters. They're not exactly the same. But if you talk about the inside game, because I think Ward will try to keep this fight to the inside as much as possible. He's not going to make this fight any harder than it has to be. This is a guy that goes out by game plan 100%. Ward sticks to a game plan. A very intelligent fighter. But if the game plan's not working, he can adapt. Best believe that he's like a chameleon. But just comparing the two fighters, Dawson facing Hopkins last fight was good. Because it's like instead of fighting an old man with that style, he's fighting a young man with that style now. So it's interesting to see if Dawson can prevail again. Dawson is a natural boxer. He's a right-hander that fights southpaw. Some people call that basically he's a fake southpaw. He's just inverted. That's all I call it. He's a natural right-hander, but he's inverted to the southpaw stance. I guess that works better for him. Dawson has a good jab. Whether he can land that jab on Ward, Ward's a very difficult guy to land a jab on. That remains to be seen. I think Dawson, obviously he looks to land his right hand. His right hand is the one that's going to carry the power. He'll step back and look to counter you with the right hook. He can do that from the outside. Maybe he can establish that on Ward, but Ward's not going to stay to the outside. Ward ain't stupid. He ain't going to stay to the outside. Ward's going to go work his way right inside, and he's going to try to pin him. He's going to try to make this fight like how he did Alan Green. Keeping it to the inside, putting his head in the chest and releasing them combinations to the body and worn Chad Dawson down. Now, Dawson, this is where it comes in favor. He's supposed to be the stronger guy now, coming down from 175. That remains to be seen, man, because Andre Ward, what he lacks in power with his hands, he makes up for with body strength. This dude is physically strong. Physically strong. I know this ain't MMA, but in the clinch, let's face it, in boxing there is, even though it's illegal, there's clinching, there's holding. You can pick your opponent up and swing him around, real quick. You can do it. You're not supposed to, but fighters do it at the right moment, at the right times. A fighter's near the turnbuckle like Lopez did Ortiz. A smart tactic. It's not legal, but he did it. He turned them real quick into the corner. You can do that shit. And sometimes if you do it real fast and quick, you can get off a couple punches to the body before the referee breaks it up. So, being that fighters do that, and Andre Ward's the type of fighter that will definitely do that, I can see Andre Ward actually being the stronger fighter in this fight. Dawson might have the strength, but that's just not Dawson's game. That's not his style to do stuff like that. And Dawson's a guy mentally he can get frustrated. This guy, I think he's got A-level boxing skills. He's a natural boxer, but he can get frustrated if things are not going his way. And this is definitely the guy to frustrate him. He fought an old Hopkins. I'm not taking nothing away from him. Good performances. He fought an old Hopkins. He did good. I felt he won unanimously. He beat Bernard Hopkins. No contradiction there. Even B-Hop hardcore fans were saying Chad Dawson won that fight. Did enough to win it, clearly. But this time he's fighting, think of a younger version of Bernard Hopkins, Andre Ward. And in my opinion, has more elements than B-Hop even had in his prime. So, Andre Ward is going to be tough to beat because he can find a way to win in general. It might not be very flashy and entertaining, but, it can get ugly. He'll find a way to win, and I think he's going to beat Dawson from the inside out. That's how he's going to win this fight. Going to beat him from the inside out. He's going to wear him down. He's going to frustrate Dawson. Dawson's going to be looking, Dawson's setting up other shots with his jab. That's what he does. That's what a boxer's supposed to do. But I don't think that jab's going to land as often as he would like it to. And if it lands, I don't know if it's going to be clean because Ward moves so much he can roll away with a lot of punches. I just see Ward winning this by unanimous decision when it's all said and done. But I'm interested to see the moments because Dawson will have some moments. I'm interested to see what he does when he has those moments. But I don't think he'll have enough of the moments. I don't see him winning more than 4 rounds against Andre Ward, to be quite honestly. And those 4 rounds should come within the first, let's say, 6 rounds, in my opinion. Because the more this fight goes on, the more worse it gets for Dawson. The more frustrated I can see him getting by Andre Ward. Andre Ward's slick, very defensive, won't let you land clean a lot, can roll with the punches, can move, can go to the inside, can rough you up on the inside. If Dawson is physically stronger than Andre Ward, okay, possible. But with cutting back the weight and all, Glenn Johnson had much success. He did it. I think Glenn Johnson, if I'm not mistaken, he hadn't fought at super middleweight since 2000. So it was like 10 years for him before stepping up to the super middleweight tournament and fighting Alan Green. Let's face it, Alan Green was a replacement. He wasn't no world beater. He wasn't no top level. He was B fighter at best, and he knocked him out. And he did put up a good showing against Carl Froch. Caught him clean on the chin a couple times, but that was as best as it goes. Glenn Johnson, that was as best as it got right there. 168. He looked good at it. He looked good at the weight, but again, Glenn was out of his prime, man. The dude's over 40. You can't really look at the weight so much. You gotta look at the age factor too. But he had success. He knocked out Alan Green at 168. So that was good, and he made an exciting fight with Carl Froch. Dawson, like I said, I think it's been 6 or 7 years he's dropping in weight. I just feel that Andre Ward's going to be the smarter, more adaptive, more intelligent fighter. Not that Dawson's not intelligent. He's very, very, very high IQ in boxing. But I just think Andre Ward is the more versatile, the more complex fighter, and he's going to get the job done in 12 rounds. I don't expect no knockout in this fight. I don't expect no knockdowns. I just expect 12 rounds of action. And I think it's going to swing Andre Ward's way by unanimous decision. So I always 100, man. Leave me your comments like always. I'm out.